everyone. Today we are doing lesson 11.4. We are on page 477, and we will be looking only one lesson. Today we will be looking at three-dimensional figures. So these are figures that have three sides, okay? They're not flat. They are three-dimensional. That means that you could see a top, so front, side, and bottom. So we're going to have a lot of vocabulary words, so make sure that you follow along and you highlight and you underline and you take very good notes. We're going to start off today with writing the objective. So the objective for this lesson, I'm going to go ahead and write it here. Objective. The objective of this lesson is we will identify, describe, and classify three-dimensional figures. Okay, three-dimensional figures. Okay, and so let's look at this math idea. A two-dimensional figure has the dimensions length and width, which are used to find the figure's area. So when we are finding two-dimensional, we have length and we have the width and length. A three-dimensional figure or solid has three dimensions. It has length, width, and height. These dimensions are used to find the figure's volume or the space it occupies. So let's go ahead and get started by looking at polyhedrons. Okay, so a solid figure has three dimensions, like we said, length, width, and height. This is important that you guys understand that we have three measurements, length, width, and height. Polyhedrons, such as prisms and pyramids, are three-dimensional figures with faces that are polygons. So here the clue or the tip here is that polyhedrons are three-dimensional figures with faces that are polygons. So remember that polygons are closed with at least three or more segments, closed figures. Okay, so polyhedrons have faces that are polygons. A prism is a polyhedron that has two congruent polygons as bases. So it has two congruent. That means that the top and the bottom have a polyhedron. In other words, a polygon at the base. See how the base is a triangle, and the top of that figure, the base is also a triangle. Triangle is a polygon. And then you have the sides, which is a different shape. So a polyhedron's lateral faces, the lateral face is kind of like the sides, are polygons that connect with the bases. The lateral faces of a prism are rectangles. See how this is a rectangle? It connects the two triangles. A prism's base shape is used to name the solid figure. Okay, so we use the base to name this figure. In this case, this is a triangular prism because there's a triangle in the base, and it's a prism because it has two congruent polygons as the base. Okay, so here we're going to look at these examples. We're going to identify the base shape of the prism, and we're going to use the terms in the box to correctly name the prism. So what is the base of this shape? So we have here the base. We can call the base will be the bottom where it's sitting on. And of course, that's depending how you hold it. But here we have the base. Okay, and that shape, what is that shape? It's a rectangle, right? So the base shape is a rectangle. So we're going to use that to name this three-dimensional figure. So the name of this figure is a rectangular prism. Why is it a rectangular prism? Because the base is congruent. Okay, you have that same shape on both sides, and it's connected by the lateral face, which is a rectangle. Here, let's look at the next one. Let's look at the base. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has 5 sides, so that means, okay, that it's a pentagon. And we have our list here too. Decagonal prism, octagonal, hexagonal, pentagonal. So we can relate that to what we learned on the last lesson. So a pentagon, it has 5 sides. And because this is connected with rectangles, into a three-dimensional solid, then we call this a pentagonal prism. This is a pentagonal prism. Let's move on to the next shape. Okay, and let's look at the base. In the base, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So 6 means hexa. So that means that this is the base, it's a hexagon. And so that means that the name of this figure is a hexagonal prism. And now let's look at the next one. What shape do we have on the base? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. 8 is for octa. So that means that this shape is the base shape is the octagon. So that means that the name of the solid figure, it's an octagonal prism. All right. Okay, so here we have the pyramids. A pyramid is a polyhedron. So remember, polyhedron is the same here that we talked about. Such a prism and pyramids are three-dimensional figures with faces that are polygons. So it has faces with polygons. But we're going to see now what is the difference between a polyhedron, between a prism and a pyramid, okay? So here we have a pyramid is a polyhedron with only one base. So we looked at the ones on the top. These had 2 bases, right? It had top and bottom. It had the same shape, top and bottom, the same polygon in the top and the bottom. A pyramid only has one base. Okay. The lateral faces of a pyramid are triangles. So instead of a rectangle, it has a triangle on the lateral face. And so the lateral faces of a pyramid are triangles that meet at a common vertex. That means that they all meet here in the corner. They all have a pointy place that they meet. So here we're going to identify the base of the shape. So we're identifying the base, and then these are the type of pyramids that we have: the pentagonal, the rectangular, the square, the triangular pyramid. So let's go ahead and look at the base. In this one, we have a triangle, right? That's the base, a triangle. So we're going to type here, the base shape is a triangle. So that means that the name of this figure is a triangular pyramid. Ooh, triangular pyramid. Now, let's look at the next one. We're going to look at the base. The base of this figure, you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. That is 4 sides, and those sides look like they are we don't know if they're all congruent. So we're just going to say that it's a rectangle. It's a rectangle. Okay. So the base shape, because I know you could say that it might be a square, but we're actually going to say that it's a rectangle. Okay. So that means that the name of this figure, solid figure, it's a, and we look at a chart here, we see, um, eh, 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 eh. Well, actually, it could be a square, right? This is going to be hard to tell because we don't know if the sides are congruent. So it could be a rectangle or a square. I take that back. Okay, it could be either or. So it depends. If you know that all the sides are congruent, then that would be a square pyramid. If the sides are not congruent on the shape, then this would actually be a rectangular prism, rectangular pyramid. My bad. Okay, so it could be either or. Okay. In this case, because that would be hard to tell. We don't know. It looks more like a square, right? I agree. Square pyramid, I think. I'm more pro to that. Let's look at the last one, or yeah, the last of these pyramids. We have one, two, three, four, five. Five sides. And a shape with five sides, it's a pentagon. Pentagon. So that means that this must be the pentagonal pyramid. Pentagonal pyramid. All right, let's look at the next section. So we already looked at the prisms, at the pyramids, and now we have our last section. So the pyramids and the prisms, they're both of them are polyhedrons. Now we're going to look at the non-polyhedrons. So the non-polyhedrons are some three-dimensional figures that have curved surfaces. So in this case, we're going to have areas that are curved. These solid figures are not polyhedrons because they have curves. What does curve mean? It means that it's kind of like roundish. So we have a cone. Okay, the cone has a circular base, so it's a circle on the base. See, so there's no sides. So and they just connects, kind of a cone, like where you put your ice cream. Then we have a cylinder, which has two circles as a base, two congruent circles, and so the curve is what connects both of those shapes. And then we have the sphere, which is a a sphere is just a sphere. It's a ball, right? And so those are our three non-polyhedrons. All right, that's it for today. So here we have some examples. We have classified the solid figure, right? Prism, pyramid, and cone, cylinder, or sphere. So the first one, um, we're only going to say if it's a prism. Remember, a prism has two faces, two lateral faces. A pyramid has one lateral face. A cone has a curve, and the cylinder and the sphere. So the cone, cylinder, and sphere are non-polyhedrons. Okay, so these three are non-polyhedrons. Okay, the pyramid. Remember that this is the non-polyhedrons, these three, and then the pyramid um has one lateral face. Okay, and this one has this figure has, so in this case, or the prism has two lateral face. Okay, two faces. So here, I'm going to do the first one, and then you guys on your own will do the other two, okay? Number one, if you see, we have one base only, and then we have triangles on the side. So that means that this is actually this is a pyramid because it only has one face, okay? See, the base is on the bottom. You guys can do the other two. And then on this one, you name the solid figure. Remember, I know that this is a prism because it has two congruent figures, and the face on the base solid, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a 5 means it's a pentagon, but it's a prism, so it's a pentagonal prism. Okay, so those are my two examples, and you'll have more to practice.